Hello everybody, happy Halloween. It is Hallows Eve, the very day, potentially my favorite day of the year. So first of all, I just want to talk about my backpack. It broke my hairbrush in half. That's how heavy it was. Isn't that ridiculous? This is like a pretty sturdy hairbrush. So I know that I said in the last video that today's would be a book review, but I decided to postpone that just a little because it is about a nonfiction novel, Columbine by Dave Cullen, and it's pretty brutal. And Halloween, I think, should be a day of happy, spooky stuff, you know, not like actually horrifying mass murders. That just seemed disrespectful to me. So today we're gonna do something else. And that something else is just gonna be just a fun video of me literally just sitting here talking about all of my favorite movies. So with that, let's get started. For a little background, I want to be a film major in college. I really hope to be a film director, editor, or screenwriter. Editing is probably my favorite thing, my first love, but directing is what I hope to graduate to. I just think that storytelling through film is such a rich art form, and I want to be a part of it, you know? My first favorite movie today that I want to talk about is The Florida Project, written and directed by Sean Baker. The Florida Project follows Mooney, who is a little girl living in Orlando, Florida, in pretty extreme poverty with her mother. And her mom doesn't really have a stable job, she drinks a lot, and so they live out of this motel called the Magic Castle Motel. This movie is incredibly depressing in the most innocent and beautiful way possible. It tells a really sad story through a child's view of the world, which is usually hopeful and joyful, and that's exactly what this movie is the culmination of. My absolute favorite parts of this movie are the cinematography. The bright colors in The Florida Project are absolutely astonishing and just incredible to look at, but then you remember that they're a facade for kind of a less joyful and less bright way of life. I love that they combined professional actors like Willem Dafoe with first-time actors they found on Instagram, such as the actress who plays Mooney's mother in the movie. The child actors in this particular film were phenomenal. I believe the girl that plays Mooney, I think her name is Brooklyn Prince, and she's gonna be big. She's already big. She's going to be bigger. She is so talented, and she broke my heart probably 552 times. Something interesting about this film, without spoiling too much of the ending, is that it does conclude with a shot taken at a particular amusement park in Florida on an iPhone. Sean Baker is a big fan of using iPhones and kind of minimal technology to tell stories, and I find that so inspiring, because as much as I love 4K quality cameras, I can't afford that. I don't have money to buy incredible equipment. I don't have money to buy lighting or really audio. I'm saving up now for a mic, but I just find it so inspiring when beautiful films are told in a way that's accessible to a lot of people. What's really exciting to me about the 21st century is if you want to make movies, there's no excuse for you not to, so long as you have an iPhone. My next favorite film is going to be a coming-of-age film, and that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, written and directed by Stephen Chbosky. Stephen Chbosky is interesting. So this is primarily a booktube channel, so most of you likely know Chbosky for either his novel, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, or his more horror-geared novel called Imaginary Friend. That is one of my favorite horror books of all time. So Chbosky actually went to USC SCA, which is School of Cinematic Arts, and he graduated from there with a film degree. And then he went on to write novels. And then he went on to make those novels into movies. So it's just kind of a fun full circle thing that I would love to do someday. I'd love to write a book and then adapt it. How fun would that be? This movie is in no way perfect at all. Emma Watson's accent is all over the place, but I love it because it tells such a raw and authentic teenage story in such an empathetic way. It is probably the best depiction, apart from Lady Bird, another favorite film, that I have seen of high school and adolescence in America. The Florida Project and Perks of Being a Wallflower are both on Netflix, so you should go check them out. Next, let's talk about Charlie Kaufman, one of my favorite and most pedantic filmmakers of all time. He's been in the media recently with the release of the film I'm Thinking of Ending Things, based on the novel by, I think it's Ian Reid, could be wrong, but the movie I want to talk about today is The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This film follows Joel and Clementine and their relationship, but what's really cool is this is not just a movie about a relationship, it's a movie about a relationship in which time is is warped to such an extent that things seem endless. For example, we jump back and forth between present day and past day. They're good memories together, they're not so good memories, they're meeting, they're re-meeting, they're breakup, they're coming back together, etc. There's also an element of science fiction in here because after they've broken up, both Joel and Clementine decide they want each other removed from their minds. They don't want to have those memories. So I really enjoyed the kind of crazy out-of-world experience that the sci-fi elements of this movie provided to such a real story, because relationships are something we all have the pleasure of having in our lives, whether those be friendships or romantic relationships or familial ones or even ones with your pets. I mean, I love my dogs to death. It's a really bizarre movie about something that's really accessible, and I think that's such a cool way to tell a story. Make it seem so out-of-worldly and fantastical when really relationships and relationship struggles and communication problems are something we all deal with. On that note of relationships, Marriage Story by Noah Baumbach. I've been on a bit of a Noah Baumbach spree lately. I recently finished The Whale and the Squid and the Whale, one of the two. And I also last night just finished the Meyerowitz stories. And although I really loved The Whale and the Squid and thought it was really funny and really devastating at the same time, my favorite Noah Baumbach film has to be Marriage Story. In this story, Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver are playing our two main characters, and they're married and they're getting a divorce. It's really the process of their divorce, all of the ways that the system of divorce and the legal side of things interfere with what is a really emotionally impactful time in someone's life, and it also discusses a bit about how divorce can impact parenting. What I really love about Noah Baumbach's films is that his characters are neither good nor bad. Everyone is at fault for whatever is wrong in some shape or way, and I think that's really accurate to real life. I also love Baumbach's incredible capture of dialogue. He's really good at having characters say things that real people would say, and just bizarre conversations that are really commonplace in our day-to-day lives. I think about the conversations my family has at our dinner table. From an outside perspective, they're probably absolutely bonkers, but to us, they make sense. It's just really real. And I feel like I've said that word a lot in this video, but I guess that's what I like in movies. I like a certain level of realism, but I also, on the other hand, love films that make fun of the fact that other films try to be realistic. Marriage Story absolutely broke my heart in a lot of ways, but like most Baumbach films, it ended in an almost hopeful way, which is a strange way to end a movie about divorce. But it also made so much sense. The last film I want to talk about today is just one that generally makes me happy every time I watch it. You guessed it, Ratatouille. I love Ratatouille to no end. It makes me, like I said, so incredibly happy. There's nothing cuter than a rat that just wants to make some soup. I'm sure you're all familiar with the plot, but Remy, a rat, gets separated from his family during a storm and ends up at a restaurant that used to be a 5-star restaurant, but has kind of gone downhill since the founder passed away. Remy decides that he wants to bring Gusteau's, the restaurant, back to its former glory, and decides to help out his friend Linguini, who is like the the janitor or the cleaner-upper at the restaurant. It's such a cute movie about following your dreams despite any expectations that people put on you, about unlikely friendships, about the beauty and humanness of food and how integral food is to culture, and I just love it. Now, for someone who loves film to the extent that I do and appreciates it and wants to be a part of it, I haven't seen that many movies. I have a lot more to watch, so here's a brief list of what I'll be watching in the near future. Moonlight. I desperately want to watch this. I'm slowly making my way through all of the A24 films. A24 is a emerging, incredible studio, and Moonlight is one of them. As much as I enjoyed La La Land, at least to some extent, Moonlight will probably be better. I'm kind of tired of Hollywood making movies about how awesome Hollywood is. Maybe just me, I don't know. Some other films I really want to watch in the near future include Her, The Social Network, which was written by Aaron Sorkin, whose masterclass I'm currently taking at school, as well as The Taxi Driver. I want to watch Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I've watched so many YouTube analyses of these movies and never actually seen the actual films. It's really depressing, really, but I'll get there. I'm working my way through slowly. Holly. I started Roma a long time ago. For some reason, didn't finish it. I think that I was trying to be able to watch the film without subtitles because I'm learning Spanish, and it just got really difficult for me. But you know what? I'm in Spanish 4 now. I'm AP next year. I'll get my seal of biliteracy next year, so maybe it's time, or at least almost time. At the end of the day, there are just a lot of movies I need to get to, and I'm so looking forward to as soon as I finish my AP biology homework. I think that you don't have to be well-versed in film or an expert in what's popular or what's famous in order to appreciate the medium and be able to create your own stuff, but I also think it's important to look back on what's worked, what shaped the way that movies are made. Last but not least, I want to close out this video with just some spooky Halloweenish recommendations for you to watch tonight if you're looking for something to do. You can of course watch the classic Halloween Town. Special effects, characterization, A+. Acting, top notch. It's so bad, but I love it, and it's nostalgic and fun. Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously. I also would recommend Enola Holmes, which I just watched a few weeks ago and enjoyed a lot. It's new on Netflix. Millie Bobby Brown and Louis Partridge are the two main characters. It was cute. It's always a little strange for me to watch Millie Bobby Brown, and I can't really explain why. It's just that, like, we're the same age, and I think about how, like, crazy that is because, like, I feel way younger than that, but I'm not, and it's just bizarre. My favorite part of Enola Holmes was actually this scene, which I'll insert, that I have not heard talked about by anyone. I just love the juxtaposition between Millie Bobby Brown manspreading and Louis Partridge sitting with his ankles crossed. It just made me so happy. I don't know why. Haunting of Hill House is supposed to be really good. It's on Netflix. I have not seen it. Really anything Bong Joon-ho, as we've talked about, is pretty spooky, scary. Gravity by Alfonso Cuarón freaks me out every time. It's not Halloweenish, but it's absolutely terrifying. And if you're not looking for something particularly Halloween-y, just something more autumnal, fallish, I do have a video for that, but the movie I would recommend you watch is Little Women. It just has a very autumnal vibe to it. It's cozy, it's sweet, and I love all the characters to death. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to make. And if you have any movie recommendations for me, particularly if you have any diverse movie recommendations, I would love to hear them, because I definitely need to expand my repertoire and my watching of actual film versus YouTube, you know? As much as I love film critique, it'd probably be better if I watched films before I watch them be critiqued. With that, I will say goodbye, and I will see you all tomorrow, and have the best Halloween. Stay safe, wear your masks, and yeah.